Meticulous Moments audience. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another exhilarating session here at the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And today we have the wonderful honor of spending time with the one and only Scott Clist. Welcome, Scott. How are you?
I am good, Juanita. Thank you very much for having me on. It's really cool. Thank you very much.
So much. Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor for us also to spend time with you. Shout out to John G. Paul, who introduced us. He's amazing. I'm so thankful to him. And you know, you and I have met. We've had a virtual coffee. We've talked on Messenger as we were preparing for the session. Tell the audience, we would like to hear from you who you are and what you love to do.
Okay, my name is obviously Scott. I'm a writer and film director now. Previously, I was a professional mixed martial artist. I held some titles, British title in two British titles, sorry, and then I won a European title as well. I fought on Cage Warriors, I fought on many promotions, numerous different opponents. Before that, I was a kickboxer. I've been doing martial arts around about 35 years now. Been doing it a long time. Absolutely love it. My passion is now films. I have something I wanted to do since I was a kid. So that's now the goal that I'm chasing. I'm also a qualified counsellor. Something I did a few years ago that I fell in love with. I really enjoy that part as well. Yeah, that's pretty much me at the minute. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with myself. Along with also I'm a nightclub manager, previous doorman. I had a rather extensive career in the licensing trade in sort of alcohol and clubs and nightclubs and bars.
I absolutely love that you are so diverse. You know, you're such a diverse individual. And I actually wanted to say, I absolutely love your background. That looks super wow. You know, and when we do these things with our lives, when we are in the mixed martial arts or any other type of martial arts, when we are in the spiritual counseling, I'm also a spiritual counselor. When we are in the filmmaking, there are certain things that stand out that we absolutely adore about what we do. So tell us, in those three areas, in MMA, in spiritual counseling, and in filmmaking, what's the most enjoyable part of that role that you fulfill at that time?
If I start sort of with the martial arts, I guess there are many different reasons why I became a mixed martial artist. You know, one of them was I wanted to be a stronger individual than I was when I was a kid. I wanted to turn myself into somebody who could protect themselves, look after themselves. So I grew up watching films, so there were a few heroes in that I saw that I wanted to be like.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I never actually enjoyed the fighting part of MMA. That was probably the worst part of it, which is, you know, being a professional fighter, fighting, probably I've had, I don't know, roughly around about 50 full contact fights. But the actual fighting part, I never really enjoyed that. Never really actually enjoyed I enjoyed the competition, loved the training, and I loved winning. That part I absolutely loved. The actual fighting part was not something I really enjoyed. The pushing myself and testing myself, yes. The actual confrontation part, literally 10 minutes before I'd go into a fight, I would be walking, I'd be warming up. And in my mind, I'd be thinking to myself, why have I put myself in this position again?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this to myself again? You know, that part of sort of combat sports I didn't really enjoy. But it was the winning and the training that I absolutely loved.
Yeah. The reward.
Yeah. I guess maybe as well is probably part of that conquering that fear that sort of gave me a bit of a drive as well, being able to conquer that and get past that. And you know, that part was really good for me. With the counselling, I started working with a guy I call a mentor. It was actually during my MMA career. I was struggling with part of my career where I had this big fight coming up, and I was taking a lot of people with me. I was taking like over 120 people with me to watch this fight. Now, the last time I took a lot of people with me to watch a fight, I'd gotten knocked out in 6 seconds. So I'd taken all these followers with me. We'd gone up. It was my second amateur MMA fight, and a very talented athlete called Tim Newman caught me with a left hook, put me down. That was it, sort of over. And I was extremely embarrassed. Extremely disappointed in myself. 6 seconds in, I brought all these people. So when I had this fight coming up for the British title, I had 120 people come to watch me, and I had this thing in my mind where I couldn't get past. What if it happens again? So I started talking to this guy, and I met him in the gym, and we had like a 20-minute conversation, and it seemed like just a normal conversation. When I walked out of the gym, I felt like I could leap buildings. I'd just done a 2-hour session. I felt like I could go back and do another 2-hour session. So I got sort of speaking to this guy, and sort of, we started meeting once a week, having these sessions, and we were looking at past limiting beliefs that I did developed, past sort of traumas and stuff that I'd gone through. That I was like, okay, well, these are having some sort of effect. Now, just being able to talk about these and identify them helped me a great deal. So what I did then, I kind of figured if it helped me, does that mean I could help others? Because after we had this chat, my MMA career sort of started taking off. I did it really well, got really successful. I was fighting on big promotions. I thought, okay, well, there's got to be something in this. So if it's helping me, surely I can help somebody else. So I went away and did a first year, 1 year. I started off with a listening skills course in counselling, and fell in love with it. I really fell in love with how this could unlock the potential in people. So then I did a year's counselling, the first sort of like my diploma, and I just decided, you know what, this is definitely for me. I wanted to help people, so I enrolled on to get my degree in counselling, and did sort of so many years of it. And now I still work as a counsellor now, and I love those moments when I'm talking to somebody, and they're going through something, and we're discussing stuff, and you see that moment where something happens, and they get it, or they unlock something, or they tap into something, and it's kind of like that's what it is. Oh my God, and to see that, it's just it's such a great experience, to see that and know that you've actually helped facilitate that, help that person get to that place just through talking to them. But basically, yes, you need some skill, you need to go through some training and some skills to get to that point, and know, watching body language and how to ask these questions and what are the right questions maybe at the right time. But the fact that everybody holds those answers within themselves, but you've helped them find that answer within themselves. And I absolutely love that part. Is it's amazing to me to see that in somebody. So that's the part about counselling I love, helping people, and then just that sort of side. With filmmaking, now filmmaking is something that I have wanted to do since I was probably about 10 years old. I grew up watching films from a very early age, and always loved cinema, always loved it. When I was about 10 years old, I got asked, actually, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I actually said at the time, I want to make films. I want to be a writer. I want to direct movies. And I was told then, that's a really hard field to get into. And that gave me this limiting belief inside myself that was it wasn't saying, okay, this is a hard field, but you can work hard and get it. To me, it was saying, this is a really hard field to get into. It was almost saying, like, it's going to be too hard for you. And I, that limiting belief kind of landed with me, and I was stuck with this limiting belief, like, oh, well, maybe that's something I can do that. Maybe I'm not good enough to do that, because that was what had been planted. So I grew up at 15. I kind of caught the bug again. I sort of made my first short film as part of a school project. That bug was still there. It was absolutely awful. an absolute awful film. You know, I wrote this. It was a complete rip-off of every 90s martial arts movie ever made. It's about illegal fighting in a school. I wrote it, and then I started filming it, filmed some scenes, filmed quite a few scenes, but I never edited it together. Again, I think it was that fear of failure. I watched back clips, and I was like, that's not Hollywood material, and it really sort of that limiting belief sort of crept up in me again and said, like, see, told you couldn't do this. It's just too hard. And then I came away from that, and I guess kind of life got in the way, and I started working, and then fell into that trap of, okay, make money, you know, do a job, make money, work, put your goals aside because they're not paying the bills. And then being a martial artist, I kind of found fighting and competing, and then that took my focus for a long period of time. I was so focused on becoming something within the MMA world that was my focus for probably 15 years.
Yeah.
And then, yes, I won titles, and although I didn't enjoy the fighting part, I enjoyed everything else that went with it. And I don't regret any of that because I actually loved it. But inside me, that passion for making films was still there. And I've always been a writer. I've always wrote sort of scripts, and I even sort of when I was training, I wrote a couple of feature films. I wrote some short films.
Yeah.
And then at the end of my career, I kind of thought, oh, you know what, my passion is filmmaking. You know, I want to go and I want to make films. So I had this script that I wrote like 10 years previous, this short film, and I planned to make it a couple of times and never got around to it. And I thought, okay, well, now is the time.
Yeah.
So I got this team together, we went into the woods and we filmed this film. And after 3 days being in the woods making this film, I walked out of the woods and I went home. And I was in this kind of almost like a daze. And I sort of said to my wife, she said, oh, how did it go? And I sat down and I went, you know what? I think I enjoyed that more than martial arts.
Wow.
And my wife was like, exactly, shocked. I was like, I'm as shocked as you are. As I you know, I'd spent my whole life doing martial arts, and as I loved that more than martial arts. I loved it absolutely. I was like, what? This is what I'm meant to do. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So after that one, you know, I made another one and I wrote more and progress. And I've now got myself to the point where I wrote and directed 6 short films.
Fantastic.
I love every minute. From the minute of conception until that film was finished and ready to go, I love every minute of it. Every minute.
It's, you know, it's incredible because, you know, I'm sitting from the outside and looking in as you describe your life and everything that you've been doing. And it's so inspirational to see how you faced those fears when you did the mixed martial arts, because that's full contact. That's heavy stuff. It takes courage to do that. Even feeling that fear, you went in there. I mean, the opponent trains just as hard as you to be in there, you know, and you did so well. You excelled in that. You went into the spiritual counseling. You spoke to, you know, pieces of yourself so that you can be in a place where you can help others. You get that joy from that as well. So the MMA was a great source of joy. Spiritual counseling was a great source of joy. And I have to say, you know, if I look at the MMA and all your achievements there, and I look at your spiritual counseling and taking that experience into your filmmaking, in my opinion, that's why you are an impeccable filmmaker, because you kind of blended all of that with the passion as a child. You grew up with that passion to be a filmmaker, and now you're using everything that you've learned and you are creating these films and you are living your dream. I mean, what's better than living your dream? How amazing is that you're at this place living your dream? We celebrate with you because, wow, that's just incredible.
Yeah. You know, I wouldn't say it's a regret. You know, I kind of wish that when I was 15 and I did my first film, I almost wish that I'd continued that on. But
Yeah.
I'm also a firm believer of things happen when you're ready.
Yes.
So maybe back then I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be a filmmaker then. I needed a bit more life experience. I needed
Yes. Wow.
to become a counsellor, go through my MMA, go through the kickboxing, and get to this point where I am now, where I can be like, okay, now is the right time. Everything arrives at the right time. Now is the right
Yeah.
time. And I'm where I need to be to get
Yes.
to continue on this journey.
I believe that. I believe that because, you know, I also do MMA. I don't compete professionally, but I also do MMA. And it's really, there's a mental side to it. And then in spiritual counseling, you know, there's the mental side and there's the spiritual side. And I guess in filmmaking, you know, we are working with people's thoughts and emotions and telling that story, bringing that story to life to people. So, I mean, you have been in this preparation period. And I have to say, Scott, you know, I really believe that you are going to excel in filmmaking as well as you're doing now. There's great things to come for you
Thanks
because
very much.
that's your passion, you know, that's your life. So let's talk about the 6 short films that you did, because I believe that there will be someone in the audience that's an aspiring filmmaker, or someone that wants to start writing scripts, or someone. Speak to the audience about your process in doing those short films. I know that you make them and then you send them to festivals. Tell us more about that process.
Okay. My first short film that I completed, it's a film called Lost Soldiers, and that really was a learning experience. I wrote this script, and you know, I put together this team of like-minded people who everyone wanted to be creative and build something. So we went out, we went in the woods, and we made this film, and it really was a learning process. You know, I had no experience myself. It was, you know, okay, let's put the camera here. I directed the actors of what I wanted them to do, what I wanted to see on screen. And one of the biggest things I love, I think, one of the other things I love about filmmaking is seeing what I imagined in my mind, what I wrote, and seeing that come to life in front of me is magic for me. That is absolutely magic. It's that creative process. And after making that first film, like I said, there were loads of mistakes, you know, continuity mistakes. When I went back to edit it, it was an absolute nightmare because there were, you know, I had to cut it a certain way where, you know, some of the dialogue wasn't matching up with what was on the tape. The sound was all over the place, but it was a learning experience, and I sort of come away from that with that experience being like, so, okay, so here's a whole bunch of things that I shouldn't do when I'm making a film, and there's a whole bunch of films that I should do when I'm making a film. So the second film was a massive jump in sort of quality, you know, because I'd taken those lessons from the first one, applied it to the second one, and then with my other films, it's the same. Each one was a step up in quality, but it was a learning process, and I feel I needed that learning process. I needed to learn the trade. I needed to learn how to do certain things, so I could get myself to a point where I was ready to make a feature film and start turning this into a career. You know, I love making films. I do. It's absolutely amazing. But to be able to do it full time is the goal. That's what I want to be able to do. I want to make a living from it. I want to be able to get to a place where I can afford to just do my dream, my goal every single day of my life. And to get to that place, it needs to be financially successful as well as sort of spiritually and successful for myself. You know, I think that learning process is so important as a filmmaker.
Absolutely.
So important. My last short film I did it's actually called Shadow of Automation. It's the poster behind me. It was initially called Nemesis Rain. Now it was an homage to a director called Albert Pyun. Albert Pyun's been sort of around since the early 80s. His first film, Sword and the Sorcerer, which I think I probably, you know, it's an 18, but I think I probably watched it when I was about 8, which is yeah, a little bit violent, but I watched it and I was like, oh, this is amazing. It's about, this sword and sorcery type film. Absolutely loved it. And then I kind of grew up on Albert Pyun films.
Yeah.
Cyborg was Uncle Van Damme in it. Nemesis, and Nemesis is probably my favorite Albert Pyun film. And when I had sort of this idea, I found Albert on Facebook a few years ago, and I messaged him, just sort of says, I'm a big fan, love your films. Been a fan for years, and I actually got a message back. Now I was like, wow, this is a guy who's making films.
Yeah.
He's made loads of these movies I've seen, and he's taken the time to write back to a fan just to say that sort of almost like sort of. I was like, wow, that is, for somebody that sort of level to do that, I was like, that's awesome. That shows what kind of person he is. And I was like,
It does.
that is so cool. And Albert at the time was doing a prequel for his film Cyborg. And I had this idea. I had an idea for sort of a prequel for Nemesis. So I wrote to Albert just saying, I got this great idea. Have you ever thought about doing a prequel to Nemesis? And at the time, Albert said yes. He said, but with his health concerns at the time, he said like sort of, it would be difficult for him. So I kind of left it. And a couple of months later, I was thinking, do you think Albert would mind if I had to go? So I messaged him and said, Albert, would you mind if I made a fan film of the Nemesis prequel? And Albert come back and it was like, yes, I would love that. So I was like, wow, this is director. I grew up watching his films, and he's saying that I can make a fan film of his stuff. I've got his permission. This is amazing. Look,
yeah.
What an honor. So that was it. I went away and wrote the script. He got all the guys involved in that. Albert was extremely helpful. I'd message him and he'd say, well, if you need to, I can. He even offered to put in some like cutaway shots for me.
Yeah.
If I need anything, and I was like, yeah, this is for a director like this to say yes, I'm going to help you. I was just like, this guy's amazing, man. He's so inspirational.
Yeah.
And he kind of like lives back to sort of something I sort of believe in. And Denzel Washington, he says this sentence. He said, like, when you get somewhere, always reach back and help someone else up. Absolutely, I love that. I'm going to do the same thing when I make it as a director. I believe helping, especially people in your field, like young filmmakers, I can help them. When I'm there, if I can help them step up too, I'm going to do that. I do actually think a lot of people should do that. I think the industry would be a lot better if it did. And there's stuff people can make. But yeah, we did Nemesis, Shadow of Automation. We filmed it and edited it, and it's almost ready to go. Actually, so it's almost finished. We've got to do a little bit more VFX and some music on there, but it's pretty much finished. Then it'll go to festivals, and then after Shadow of Automation sort of goes on, I will go on and make my first feature film that I'm currently in pre-production for at the minute. Just trying to raise the budget, which is the hardest part of any film. And it's not a massive budget, but I believe all of the technology and stuff we have nowadays, you can make an amazing film on very little money. If you look at El Mariachi, made on $7,000. The battery was done on $6,000.
Wow.
I've got friends who have made films that are really been like successful on very small budgets. My budget's 15,000. But I have a very talented team. I have a director of photography called Ross Yindel. The guy is an absolute genius. With lighting, with cameras. I mean, the guy is phenomenal. I got to meet him through another film that we were planning to do. And we hit it off big time and started working together. And I think as a creative team, we're very, not trying to blow my own trumpet, but I think we're very effective as a creative team. We come up with work together very well and collaborate really well, which I think films are a collaboration. But it's not like one guy, one director saying, no, I want this and this and this. It's a collaboration. You know, like whenever I make a film, I try to involve everybody. And I want to hear ideas. Another thing that I say to my actors, if they say, can I try this? I always say to them, okay, let's turn the camera on. Show me what you mean. Don't tell me. Show me what you mean, and let's see if it works. I think that's, that works for me personally. But I always think it's a collaboration. I'll listen to, the sound guy, if he comes over and says, oh, if you thought about this, I'll be like, I'll always be open to an idea. Because yes, I have a vision, but if I can improve on that, someone can give me an idea, and I think, actually, no, that's a better idea. Let's be open to that. I think being open is a good thing. If you just close and you have this one vision, you miss so much.
Yeah, I agree with you. And many times there's things that happens on film sets that were not even planned, and yet it makes the movie, or it brings a special element into the movie. And I love the way that you approach the collaboration with your actors, and your crew, your team that helps you on set. Because I always believe that more than one perspective, brings that amazing story home. I agree with you. And I love the fact, and I give huge respect to all the celebrities out there, that have time, that make time for their fans. And you have a beautiful project going. Your budget is 15K, and you have what I think is a very original and a great idea of raising those funds. And I want to talk about that because the audience, I want them to get involved and to assist you with that. Tell them about the package, the booklet that you put together, and how can we assist to help you to raise those funds, because we want to help you to make that film.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity. I have some investment booklets that I've had printed and put out. It tells you all about the film, tells you about some of the cast that we've selected, the people involved, myself, my director of photography, and we're offering B-class shares to investors. Investments start like very low amount of £500, and for that you get a percentage of the movie, the percentage of any profit. Now my main focus is the profit is giving back the investors their money. So say they invested £500. Once we made the budget of 15,000, we give back that money back to the investors, so they get it back. Then anything over 15,000 is shared out between every investor and some of the cast and crew that are being deferred, like sort of taking a deferred payment as payment for their talent. And it might get picked up by a studio. If it does, that's okay. That's a big payment. Great. There's your money. Cool. They now own the rights, but you've got your money back. You've got your profit back. Or we will sell it on Amazon and Tubi TV and video on demand platforms where you have to sort of buy the DVD. That can be a bit of a slower process to get the money back, but it can also be a more profitable one, over a long term. So I give out these packs and say, if you'd like to invest, send me an email. It's ScottClist56@gmail.com. Send me an email. I will send you a pack out. I've got a PDF version or a physical version. I've been distributing these packs around sort of like my local businesses, local people that have asked for them as well. I've sent out quite a few packs. We're almost at halfway of the budget already, which is really, really cool. People like the idea. They like the story. They like the idea of the collaboration. If investors, particularly sort of, obviously I can't pay for people to sort of fly here and stuff, but if they want to come and visit on the set days, they're more than welcome. They can meet the cast, meet myself, meet the crew, get photos. I've even offered, as part of it, if you invest, even if you invest £500, come and be an extra. Come and be in the film. Be in the background. We'll put you in a featured extra role. So rather than just being a background person, we'll open a scene up on that person, or on that person doing a scene. So when they say, I'm in a film, I'm an extra, but you're not just the guy in the background who's like walking past. You're actually sort of a featured extra. So we've opened up the shot on you, or you're seen on screen, which is, I think, a little bit of a nicer thing.
Wonderful. I love the idea. I think it's very original. Guys, this is an opportunity. ScottClist56@gmail.com. This is an opportunity. You can be an extra in a film, and not just like a normal extra, an extra that will get attention, because I mean that is what actors want. They want to show their flavor, their energy, their vibe, who they are, their their uniqueness. And here's Scott and his team. They're gonna make this budget. You said something earlier. You said, I've made the short films and I will make my feature film. I love that.
Yes.
You use the words, I will make my feature film. I love that. Yes, you will.
Speaking to yes. I guess I've been told a few times, when I said I was going to leave my job sort of a while ago, I said I will eventually be a director. Someone sort of turned around and said, no, you won't. You're going to be here forever. And that really stuck with me. And I'm a firm believer that I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing until I get where I want to be.
Yes.
I will not stop. I also believe I have a daughter. I have a little girl, and I believe it's my responsibility to show her you don't quit. Because if I quit, it becomes acceptable for her to quit on her goal and her dreams. If I have a responsibility to show, no, you don't. You keep going. You keep going till you get where you want to be. You do not stop.
Yeah.
And I have a place I want. I have a goal where I want to reach, and if I stop, I won't get there. And no one's going to give it to me for free. So you have to do the work. You have to put the work in. And no one's going to go. People will help you along the way, which is great. But at the end of the day, you're the one that has to put the time in. You have to put the work in. And time's going to pass anyway. 7 months into the year already. Before we know it, it's going to be Christmas, and then it's going to be New Year, and then it's going to be 2024. I don't want to be in the same place in 2024 where I'm now. So, and the only way I'm going to change that is if I work for it. You have to work for it. No one gives you anything for free in these. You have to work.
You have to work hard.
You are responsible.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I believe in that. Scott, in all the ventures that I've attempted and succeeded and, become fluent in by the grace of God, I always work very, very hard at it. Because I believe that the only way we develop is to stretch ourselves, not just our imagination, but our character, to really impart put ourselves in a place where we develop personally and professionally. And the only way you do that is to work hard and to network and to connect with people and to remind yourself of your dream. And like you said, to push away those limiting beliefs. Because it's very, very easy for people to say negative things. Oh, no, Scott, you're always going to be here. It's easy for them to do that. But it's not so easy for them to say, you know what, Scott, you're going to do it. We're going to support you. We see your dream. For some reason, the world works that way, that people will rather put other people with big dreams down because maybe they cannot see as far and have that imagination like we can. I mean, great things came from people that attempted to do things that seemed impossible. And yet here we are in a world where everything is just moving along, everything's developing. If those people, these great pioneers for AI and the great pioneers for all the new developments that we have in the world, in the medical field, all over, if they'd listened to the negative people back then, we wouldn't be helping so many people today. A lot of things would be different. And I'm so glad that you pushed those limiting beliefs aside. I'm so glad that you didn't listen to the person who said you're always going to be there and that you push forward. So I would like for you to tell the audience if they struggle, because, it's good to look inward. If there's someone in the audience that's struggling with a limiting belief, in this moment, as they're going to watch this interview, how would you say could they overcome? What worked for you to overcome your limiting beliefs? What did you tell yourself, or how did you go about that?
I think that the first step is finding out what those limiting beliefs are, because you could have a belief, some stuck, programmed into your mind that you're not familiar with, that you're not you're not sure it's there, but something keeps stopping you or something's blocking you. Now that's why counselling is a major part of this. Even talking something through with a friend can be a benefit. You can find out what that limiting belief is, and which I think is the first step, finding out what your block is, and then question that limiting belief. Is it real? Is it correct? Is it right? Or is it just something that's been given to you, which a limiting belief is? It's information that's been given to you that's limiting your growth. It doesn't mean it's real just because it's somebody else's. I said I was told as a kid I would never be academic. I was not academic, not academically gifted. But I struggled then throughout my entire sort of academic sort of school life with academia. Struggled so difficult. I did in my counselling degree. I had to rewrite 5 out of 7 essays. I believe that is because my limited belief, because I didn't believe that I was clever enough or more academic enough to sort of get through. But I just kept pushing through. And now I'm a qualified level 6 counsellor. And it's a pretty academic class.
Yes.
It's a lot of information. It's a lot of reading. It's a lot of learning. But I've challenged that limiting belief and got past it. So always question the limiting belief. Question what it is. Question if it's real. And even if you do struggle, just push through it. Because if you push hard enough, you will get through it. And you'll reach the other side. But finding out what it is and then questioning it, and then doing what you need to do to get past it and push past it. Humans are capable of a lot more than they think they are.
Yeah, that's true.
And you just got to believe and push through.
Yeah, I agree with you. Believe, absolutely believe it, and then go into that action. And you're right, you made a very, very good point. You don't have to accept the limiting beliefs of others. That's a wonderful point. I never thought about it that way. I sat in a group one day, and everybody was talking about, what is your superpower? And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what's my superpower? And lots of people were saying different things. But, being in the ministry for 15 years, you have to kind of grow thick skin, because everybody's always, saying something about the pastor. It's not always nice. They don't like to be talked to or corrected or whatever. So when they asked me what's my superpower, I said, well, I guess my superpower is that I'm super thick skinned. And I don't know where it came from. And I believe that we have to be like that in today's time, because lots of people have lots of opinions, and there's so many external things, influences coming in. If we didn't stay true to ourselves, we're going to lose it and we're going to get upset, but you stuck to your dream. Yeah, you went through that journey of development and that beautiful journey. You have your beautiful family who support you. But here you are, you stuck to your dream. You're doing what you're good at. You're doing what you're passionate about. And I want to ask you, we've had a lovely discussion. Tell us 2 things. Tell us how can, they support you. Is it only the £500 donation? How else can they support you? And then secondly, would you leave us with some words of wisdom as we come to the end of the session? Something that you want to leave with the audience so that they can think about that for the next few days and make it a part of their lives.
To support, I've got an Instagram page, and it's simply just Scott Clist. I'm on Facebook. My sort of film production company is on there as well, with 8 Punch Films. Please give us a follow, give us a share. If you would like to become an investor, that is awesome.
Yeah.
I've done crowdfunding before, which is great, but I really want to be able to give something back. So I want investors. So, you know, when this film makes money, I want to be able to give something back to them. I want to be able to give them profit.
Yeah.
But yeah, sharing my posts, you know, sharing my Instagram and stuff like that. That would be very much appreciated. Thank you. Words of wisdom. God, I've been very lucky in my life. I've had, you know, people give me some great advice. When I was in my MMA career, I lost my first 4 fights. And I, you know, you guys questions this for me. Do I want, you know, should I be doing this? And I reached out to a guy who used to fight in the UFC called Ian the Machine Freeman. Again, Ian took the time. You know, this is a guy, real big influence. You know, he's known all around the world, and he took the time to write and answer me back. And so he said, "Look, okay, so you lost your first 4 fights. Just keep pushing. So just keep doing the training. Keep doing what you need to do. So once one win comes, the rest will follow." And he was right. You know, once I kept going, I kept pushing, and that's always kind of stuck with me. That, you know, don't quit. Just keep going. Keep doing the work. Keep doing what you need to do, and it will come. You'll get that breakthrough. I think that's true with pretty much everything. Yeah. You know, another guy with my filmmaking guy, a film director called Jesse Johnson. He's made some absolutely fantastic films. Again, another guy who's this big director, but he's been nice enough to answer a fan on a message. And we've had numerous conversations over the years. And when I spoke to him about filmmaking, he just said, be tenacious. Don't give up. Be tenacious. So I guess for any advice that I would give, it's always around the similar thing, because it served me so well. Don't stop. Don't quit. The bumps in the road are going to happen. You know, being held back, whatever, that might happen. Okay, cool. But it's temporary. It's not permanent. You don't let it be. If you want something, keep driving for it. Never ever quit. Because if you don't quit, you can never fail. And remember, especially if you have a responsibility to show that to your children as well. Don't quit. Keep going. Keep pushing through. You will make it. If you keep going. But if you quit, that's it. Your goal, Scott. You go. That's your finish. You go there. You know. So never quit. Be tenacious. Keep pushing through and do the work.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. Audience, don't quit. Listen to Scott's advice. He's been there, he's done that, he's living his dream. And you yourself in the audience this evening, you have your dreams for a reason. So like Scott said, don't quit, just be tenacious, keep going. Follow him on Instagram, Scott Clist on Instagram, and get involved with his project. Be an investor and see him grow and see him just do impeccable things. He has been called for this. I can see, you know, in his life as he's been going along, this is what he's supposed to do in this wonderful world of ours. And we applaud you, Scott, and we send your family love and light. And we're going to support you wherever we can on social media and just praying for you. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Juanita. Thank you for having me. Thank you for listening, guys.
It's a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much, Scott. We'll see you in the next session. Goodbye.
Steps over the foot and won't let him lock it back up.
Yeah, good awareness from Scott Clist there. Is he going to stay on top? And Clist now fires up and immediately starts raining in the shots in the clinch.
He's got some time and some score he's got to make up. Because he spent so much time in that body lock, he's got to start making it up to win this round.
Absolutely. Stayed incredibly patient in what was a very tough portion for him, and uppercuts his way out of that clinch.
Lloyd goes high and he knocks him out with the right hand. Hits him with the right hand.
Can he finish Brad Wheeler here? Wheeler looks dumbstruck and he's out.
Is he out? Is he in? I don't understand. I guess the referee is letting him go with the
Too wild. Just keeping Clist thinking. Of course, later on this evening, we've got a lightweight world title fight. One of these men could be next in line. Scott Clist landing big punches, and he's knocked Tim Wild out. Unbelievable! Scott the Priest Clist, twice in a row with huge upset knockouts here on Cage Warriors. Out of nowhere.
Okay, smoke. Action! Get out of the car! No. Bitch. Let's go. We might take a 4-4 back to the 5-4. Let's do the nice classic.